What's that? Yeah, I'm good with that.
We good here?
You're in charge.
Well, let's call it board meeting, organizational board meeting to order. Welcome everybody, and I'll especially welcome Mr. Paris and Mr. Billings for the new board members. Looking forward to some fun stuff to work with. We're going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Lothian and an invocation led by Pastor Lance Turner. Please stand.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the meeting that is convening right now. Lord, we ask that your will be done. We ask that you will give the board, Lord, wisdom, that they will guide your people, and that your name will be glorified. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay. So since today is the organizational meeting, the first item on the agenda is to get someone else to talk instead of me. So for the board chair, I'll go ahead and open the floor for nominations for chairman of the board.
I'd like to make that nomination, this temporary term.
Okay.
Mr. Charlie Jackson.
Okay. Nomination is. Any other nominations? Is there a motion to close?
Second.
Oh, a second for the nomination?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Any other nominations? Is there a motion to close the floor for nominations?
Move nomination cease.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of closing the floor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So all in favor of the nomination for Mr. Chairman, or Mr. Atkins to be the chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Mr. Atkins is staying. I'm going to send that little wooden thing down, and I don't want to.
Not as easy as it looks.
No, it's not.
Welcome everyone. As Sean said, welcome. Glad to have you here with us tonight. We try to run a meeting that keeps things moving, keeps you informed, but we try to, we try to be open so you know what's going on up here. So, having said that, now we need to elect the vice chair. So I'll open the floor for a nomination for vice chair.
Make a motion, Mr. Sturgill.
Okay. We have a second for Mr. Sturgill. Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Other than fact, I think he'd make a good one. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Likewise. Sounds like you got that, Mike. Thank you. Did you hear the train coming? I did. All right, moving on now, we need to elect a clerk of the board. I think by our bylaws, that is actually Mr. Utt. But you want us to go ahead and, let's go ahead and recognize that as an ordinance requirement and go ahead and vote on it anyway.
And I'd like to include Ms. Lothian and Ms. Richardson as deputies.
We'll get them on the next one.
Okay.
Because yours is statutory, so to speak, and theirs is. So all those in favor of Mr. Utt and clerk of the board, signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? Likewise. Now we need the motion for Lisa and Anna to be deputy clerks.
I'd like to make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Likewise. Okie dokie. Welcome on board, all of you. And y'all didn't even have to campaign for that, did you? Moving on now to organizational actions. We need to adopt a meeting schedule. And in our packet, we have a copy of that.
On page 6.
Anybody see anything that needs to change? Or?
Make the motion, we keep it as is, Mr. Chairman.
All righty.
I'll second that.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any discussion? So we're basically adopting the, meeting schedule is on page 6 of our agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise. Motion carries. Amendments and adoption of rules of procedure. It also encloses our rules of procedure, and if you'll notice on page 7 down at the bottom there in red, it says further amended January 11th, 2024. I had to look a long time to find where that amendment, what we had changed from prior year, and the only thing I could find was on page 15. We changed if you wanted to be a participating member with Zoom or something else, we changed the requirements there a little bit, but otherwise everything else remained the same. Any, do I have a motion we accept that?
Most we keep it the same, Mr. Chairman, or elect that.
Keep it the
As
same
is, yeah,
with that amendment,
with the amendment.
okay?
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Likewise. Sounds like that was unanimous. Now for the holiday schedule.
Don't think they did.
I'll second that one. Okay,
Make a motion, we keep them as is.
are we gonna use the
Or you
ones
wanna
like
add
that,
anything?
like the governor does?
I would like to make a motion that we add Good Friday on as we did last year.
I'll second that also.
Well, right now, we got Mr. Call's motion.
Well, I added that, it was gonna add any.
Okay.
I
Okay,
didn't know what the outcome had been on that yet.
so we've added Good Friday. Anybody know when that is?
March 29th.
Okay.
Any of them good name?
Otherwise, we're adopting page 16 with the addition of Good Friday.
What about that?
Any other discussion on that? I have a motion and a second. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Unanimous, I believe. The agenda stands as presented, at least I think it does. Anyone have any additions or deletions?
No, sir.
We don't have any public hearings. Minutes of the previous meeting.
Move to approve. Nobody has any changes.
Do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. Courtney seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Financial status report, Ms. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you look in the front tab of your additional folder there, you will find the financial reports, which include the county expenses and appropriations through December 31, 2023. Listed on that sheet is the ending bank balance, which was $23,827,175.25. That it does include the Sheriff's Radar Fund and the Special Projects Fund. Further down, you'll notice that not included are restricted funds that total about $11,452,000. If you're interested, there on the back it shows the uncollected county taxes, the balance as of December 2023, and the uncollected water and sewer. Additionally, there's the Treasurer's Accountability Report that lists the liabilities and assets. If you want to review that, the balance sheet through December 31st, 2023. And that is all I have.
Anyone have any questions for Lisa? Hearing none, I do have a request, if we can work it out maybe. On the second page or the back page where we got Smyth County water sewer,
Right. We will fix that, Mr. Atkins.
Okay, I mean, those numbers mean nothing.
Yeah,
We need to know what current operations, you know, you and I've done it enough times, but
yeah.
those numbers,
And we're adapting this spreadsheet, so we'll probably have something new, different in February, and we won't include those numbers that don't make any sense.
I was actually wanting to get with you after the meeting. I've got a draft of some ideas.
okay, because, you know, I'd like to see what current operations it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I found it was interesting going through and looking at, excuse us for digressing here a little bit, looking at the financial report. The water and sewer department lost money last year, but the cash flow from it was like 571,000 positive. So I don't want it losing money, it needs to be paying its own way, but I was happy that the cash flow was positive.
First time in many years.
Yes, first time in many years, so I was happy to see that, but we need to get that editorial comments.
Yes, we will fix that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Payment of invoices and accounts payable.
Would you like me to review that as well?
No, we had, everybody has it in their packet to look at.
It's on page 52.
Any questions or any comments from Ms. Richardson on the accounts payable?
Move with approval, Mr. Chairman.
All righty, have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Approved, a motion and a second. Any discussion? For our two new members, we write checks basically once a month. And then when, this is us approving the checks that they've already written, so, have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Okay. All right. I'm gonna jump down a little, get a little bit out of order now, and, seeing who we got here in the crowd, I'm gonna go to the, resolution for Project Pathfinder. And, turn that over to Sean, and Sean, you can,
Yes, sir. Let me find it myself.
I surprised you with it. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. Turn to page 123 in your packet. So, as you know, there's quite a large opioid abatement fund. It's all the settlements that have been going on the last year or two. The state has some funds available for local nonprofits who have programs to help with those who are, whether they're trying to recover from opioid addiction or mitigate the results of it. So the Legal Aid Society, Southwest Virginia Legal Aid Society has asked us to consider serving as a fiscal agent, much like we're doing for Mount Rogers Community Services. Joey Carrico, Executive Director, is here. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about what you're proposing to do, or I can.
Sure, if you wanted to. Thank you for letting me be here today. As you know, our main office is here in Marion. We have offices also in Castlewood, Virginia, and also Montgomery. We cover that much territory, 17 different counties and 4 cities. So right now we have various agreements with the drug courts in each of these counties. And so what we do is we have been signing up participants in these drug courts to do some legal work for them because they're trying to get their lives back on track, as you all know. And a lot of it's legal, and it's not the criminal side. We don't do that kind of thing. We help them do bankruptcies if they need it. Sometimes they need to get their fiscal house in order. They made a mess of that. Sometimes they need to have family lawyer to help them with their child custody issues, visitation, reestablishing connections with their family. We also help them with debt collectors and things like that too. So, and we've had a lot of good success, especially with the Smyth County Recovery Court. And this actually asked for money from the Opioid Authority so that we can hire lawyers that just specifically do that kind of work, only for people who are in recovery. And these clients would be drawn from not only drug and recovery courts throughout our area, but they would also get probationers who are released from prison or just put on probation, supervised probation. They have issues a lot of times too with addiction, and they still need help. If they're going to be in recovery, they need a lawyer who can sometimes handle some of these legal issues for them, and hopefully to help them stay in recovery. If they're not worried about some legal problem, they can focus on the recovery more, and it reduces barriers. We can do expungements for charges that are not convictions, that they never convicted of, like something that's been dismissed by the court. It's still on their record, so when they go to get a job or something, then it can be a barrier to employment sometimes, even if they weren't convicted of it. And then we can help, we have a lot of people get their licenses back, their driver's license back, if they meet certain criteria. Of course, DMV, as you all know, they have to jump through a bunch of hoops sometimes, but we can help them do all that. So that's basically what the program does. And since we are headquartered here in this county, I came to Sean and asked him if you all would be willing to be a fiscal agent for us. I met with the opioid authority representative today and found that we have to tweak our application a little bit, and I'll talk to Sean more about that later. But we appreciate your all support for this program. And by the way, I am actively involved also in the Appalachian Center for Hope too, that y'all heard a lot about and y'all have been supportive of. So I'm glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Could you read the resolution, please?
Absolutely. A resolution of support for Project Pathfinder and providing signatory authority for the proposal for grant funding from the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority, whereas the Smyth County Board of Supervisors seeks to mitigate and abate the impacts of the opioid epidemic throughout Smyth County, and whereas the mission of the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority is to abate and remediate the opioid epidemic in the Commonwealth through financial support in the forms of grants, donations, and other assistance. And whereas the OAA has invited each city and county in Virginia to submit proposals for grants to support efforts to treat, prevent, and reduce opioid use disorder and the misuse of opioids in the Commonwealth. And whereas the financial assistance offered by the OAA is needed to provide opioid mitigation and abatement efforts in Smyth County. And whereas Smyth County has prepared a grant proposal to fund Project Pathfinder for fiscal years 2024 through 2027 that accepts the terms and conditions required by the OAA. And whereas the Smyth County Board of Supervisors voluntarily agree to meet the OAA's gold standard requirements in return for a 25% increase in OAA funding eligibility during these 4 fiscal years. And whereas the Smyth County's grant request for fiscal years 2024 through 2027 seeks a total of $1,468,000 in grant funding from the OAA, including the incentive amount. Now therefore be it resolved that the Smyth County Board of Supervisors hereby authorize this county administrator to execute the grant application to the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority, to accept the grant award, and to execute all documents in connection therewith. And there's a typo, the final now therefore be it resolved should have been removed. That's what I get for copy and pasting. Adopted this 11th day of January 2024.
Move to approve.
A motion to approve. Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Sounds like it was unanimous.
Thank
We
you.
thank you. I remember when,
Appreciate it.
believe it or not, I used to do that audit years ago.
Yeah.
Legal Aid Society.
Yes,
So
sir.
I know it's a good organization, and I think we can do a lot of good things with this.
I do too, I hope so.
I appreciate y'all doing it.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Now going back to where we were, anybody sign up for citizen time? Kristen Long. Please come forward, state your name and address for the records, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Kristen Long. I live at 2268 Little Walker Way, Marion, Virginia. I'm coming here today as a member of a resident of Smyth County and also a business owner here in Smyth County. I own a private psychotherapy practice. And this has nothing to do really with either of those except for the fact that I live in Smyth County and we still don't have water where I live, county water. So I headed this up back in 2007 attempting to get county water. Nothing's really happened since then. I have another neighbor who came to the county offices a couple weeks ago. She got the petitions out to have everybody sign them, so everybody was willing to accept. Since 2007, our road has increased in population as well. So, but we still don't have water, and 2 of my neighbors actually have no access to any water whatsoever on their properties. We currently have a spring. It was just tested by the county. We got the results back and they were a little unnerving because it shows that in our spring now we have coliform and E. coli traces in our water. So it's not even suitable for drinking. So basically I'm coming here before you guys tonight to, request that we be looked at as maybe a project moving forward to get some water on the road.
That's near, right off Cleghorn Valley Road.
Yes, sir.
Walker's Creek.
Yes.
Do you have a rough idea how many homes down through there?
I'm gonna say when I first started in 2007, there was approximately 5. We've pretty much doubled that since 2007, but we're still in the same situation. Also, the part that I was bringing up in the beginning about me being a business owner, I would love to expand my business, but I don't feel comfortable doing that because we don't have water there. And if I have public coming to use the facilities there, they would really need good, clean, safe water to use, and I can't do that as of right now.
What's the nearest
Cleghorn.
connection, or what's
So
around?
we do have public water down on Cleghorn. It's, if I recall, and this is from memory, it's about 2,000 feet from.
0.7 of a mile, so I'm not sure what that equals to.
Okay, so a little over 2,500 feet. And so this request came in from her neighbor, just to give you a few details and hopefully, because I don't think you and I have had a conversation. So her neighbor did come in. She complained specifically about, I think, sulfur problems.
Sulfur and iron.
So we had 3 or 4 of the homes tested on Little Walker Way. Unfortunately, the results did not come back. They crossed any thresholds for sulfur, but as she indicated, it did pick up issues, other issues. So, and Roscoe, you feel free to chime in here. We did apply for a grant with the PDC to try to extend water to Little Walker Way. Unfortunately, that was not approved this year, but the recommendation from the Water and Sewer Committee is to pursue that grant again this year. So we fully intend to apply for another grant and try again this year to try to get some help to bring public water to Little Walker Way.
They're gonna keep trying it because what happened is Little Walker Way had so many houses, like you're saying, take in. The other grant that come in next to this one had 200. So naturally, they have to get as many as possible, but that don't mean they throw y'all aside. You're still on the list for later on.
I would suggest we send this back to the Water Sewer Committee with telling it with the stress that we'd like to see something like this as quick as possible. Not meaning it's gonna happen next week, maybe a year, but at least make sure we keep it on our radar. Does that sound good?
I'm sorry. They was also interested in the houses that didn't have facilities at all in a different grant, like indoor plumbing.
Right.
They're gonna look at that too, about putting plumbing.
That would be great. That would be great. Well, thank you guys so much for your time this evening.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we agree with that, though, send it to Water Sewer Committee? I don't think we need a vote to do that.
Hi,
What's that?
I'm Joyce Davis and I live out on Walker's Creek, and I'd like to make a plea to y'all.
Come on up and state your name and address again for the record.
Sorry,
I was not listening like I should have been.
it's all right. I'm Joyce Davis, I'm out on Walker's Creek
Name and
Road,
address.
and,
Little Walker Way.
Little Walker Way.
Okay.
And, we live up a holler up through there, but there's 2 to 3 more families that's moved in up there since we've been up there. And the first time we was asked about water was back 29 years ago. And we was told that we would get water up in Little Walker Way, but we have had no success since then. So, that's when I moved up in there. And they said that other people before me had tried to get water. So, I've been talking to Clay Williams, and he's been a big help to me as far as trying to get water. We've got petitions and sign papers about water, wanting water up there, to place before y'all. But, every time we ask about water, we have come up against, we don't have a grant, we don't have the money or the manpower to put it up in that holler. Well, I'm gonna be a little mean here. We have third world countries and we're supposed to be the richest nation on the earth. Now what is it gonna take? How many generations have to live in that holler to get water up in there, is what I wanna know. I mean, we've been up there a whole generation. My son is now 40 years old. And my neighbor's son, Mr. and Mrs. Evans, their son is about 39 years old. And Kristen has got daughters that's ready to go out of school. They're educated through high school. So how many generations do we have to have up in there to leave and to come back to get water up in our territory? We really need this water up in there. Our water has sulfur, iron, and they said we did have some E. coli. But I don't know which family had it because it wasn't on my receipt. So I don't know who had that, but they did mention that we had that. So it wasn't us, but it was a family in there is all they said. It seems to me if we having that much trouble with water, and when you have sulfur water, you have a smell that is like rotten eggs. And it not only gets in your clothes, you have to use heavy deodorant to get it off of your skin. You have to use extra lotions and stuff to get the smell. And that smell goes right into the house when you mop your floors, or when you do anything, you've got to disinfect to get the smell out of there. Now, even though we've got a winterized house with a train thing that outside to clean our air in there, which we breathe and heat by, but that just isn't enough. That doesn't suffice. So I really think that we need to go ahead and get this done, and maybe as soon as I feel like we could. I feel like it's a reasonable request. I don't feel like that we should be turned down every time, since it's already been 29 years. How much, like I said, how much longer is it gonna take? I thank you for listening to me. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
If I can add one thing, have we had this, a PER done yet?
So this was, yeah, a long time ago. This was included as part of the, when Walker Creek water line was originally installed. But
So the design is there and approved by health department, do you know?
I would assume so, but I mean, it's dated. I mean, I would imagine we'll have to revisit that.
The only reason I ask that is because what we're seeing with the Kiwanis booster station, they're requiring a PER and updated information, so it might be the next step, not only going back to the Water Sewer Committee, but also it might be good to direct the staff to pursue conversations with VDH to see if that's still what the next steps would be.
Okay, the other things, and I don't mean to be cruel about this, my farm has had county water and it never will get it because it's just not feasible to bring it, there's 6 homes through there will never get it on Flowing Spring Road because it's just not feasible.
Well, feasible meaning which way feasible? By what generation? Each generation will be paying for their water.
In other words, if we spent the money now to put a line through there, we would be over 100 years and still not have the money back. Our water bills would not be high enough to begin to get our money back for that line.
For Flowing Springs.
Right. And so that's one of the things, as much as we want everyone to have good water, we got, in other words, looks like it's 6 homes in your neighborhood that wants water, But what do we do about this road that might be a quarter of a mile long and it's got 12 homes? We tell them they've got to wait, we've got to prioritize and look at the whole county. And I understand exactly what you're saying. Because I was wanting to build a house on Flowing Spring Road, and water was a problem. I can't live on my farm, that's what it amounts to. Drill a well, but it's so deep, it's unbelievable, and it's just for water and stock.
Well, see, we have to buy our personal water, because you can't drink it sulfur. You can try,
Yep.
but you won't.
What we can do in preparation for the Water Sewer Committee, I can do a return on investment, basically a cost analysis.
That's what we need.
Yes, sir.
Everybody okay with that? All the head
I would
shakes are
just,
positive. Go ahead, Mr. White.
I would just like to see some progress moving forward with it. I mean, you know, just looking at the map here, I know there was, I'm not sure if it was Shannon Gap or somewhere down the road from there. It's coming from Walker's Creek in.
So my farm joins Shannon Gap Road. I own to the middle of Shannon Gap Road on the top of that mountain.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this. Okay, yeah. So you go over that far to Shannon Gap? Okay.
I mean, yeah, my property does.
I could do that, but I don't even know if that could be an option coming from that end down. Either way, you still have to, I guess, tap in, so I would just like to
Do something.
as they stated, something needs to be moving forward with at least.
The most cost-effective route would be up Little Walker Way, the shortest.
Yeah, cause it's right there at the
Right.
intersection.
Well, see,
Right.
there's, according to what I understood, is that there's already a hookup going up into there.
Well, the main water
The
line.
main water line runs right by the church.
Right.
See, the church is right there, and then you go up in the holler, so.
So it's going up into the holler just a little bit,
Yeah.
at least to the church, so.
At least the church.
Yeah. The church is on the main road, but
Right.
it's still on Little Walk Away,
Right.
so.
Just on the
The
corner.
address is.
service line, probably not our line.
Yeah.
We'll come
We'll
up with
just do
something.
some looking and see what we do there.
Absolutely.
We will not ignore you.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
We hope to have committee meetings next Thursday.
We appreciate what, you know, everything.
Understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Sulfur water is not,
Right.
Not digestible.
and the convenience of turning the tap on and knowing it's there has a lot to do. That would help your land value and everything else up through there.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
you're exactly right.
But you understand what I'm saying? We got other people.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like you said, you got
Other
12
families.
people,
Yep.
you know, a quarter of a mile, or so to speak,
Yep.
or less, and they can't get it.
One thing it looks like you've got in your favor, if I read it correctly, everyone that lives on that road wants it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's always a big help, when you have 100% participation. So, keep that.
And I even said I would take 2 meters just to make it happen.
So just keep that in mind, though, that the participation has a lot to do with it too. But we'll send it to Water and Sewer Committee. Do we need to keep them informed as?
I think Clegg has,
I've
Ms.
got,
Davis's
Clay's
information.
got my
yeah,
number.
we speak monthly. I can get her information before she leaves.
Sounds good. Okay, moving on then, hopefully,
Okay.
moving on. Anyone, this is citizens' time, anyone else wishing to speak? New year, Mr. Watson?
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm kind of blown away by this situation.
All righty, thank you. Thank you for being here. Anyone else wishing to speak at citizens' time? Hearing none, I'll close citizens' time. New business. Mr. Sean, the miscellaneous appointment.
Yes, sir. So in your book that was on the desk on the back side of the red tab is an updated memo for the various appointments that we need to have put forth. When you're ready, I'll go ahead. You good? So the first item is the CPMT group. This is the group that manages the CSA costs in conjunction with Department of Social Services. These are the same individuals that were serving last year. And so we're basically asking that they all be reappointed to another 12-month term. Do you want to do this individually, or do you want to do it all as one recommendation?
Let's do each committee individually, in case I have a problem with one of them.
Absolutely.
All right, we have a recommendation there. There's I guess I need a motion on this one, so I have a motion, we reappoint everyone on this committee.
I have to abstain on this one.
Okay,
Is that the CPMT?
Yes, sir.
Make a move it for him.
okay, we have a motion to accept, and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, likewise?
And one abstention.
One abstention.
Okay. Next item, Keep Southwest Virginia Beautiful. Mr. Street has served for the county for a few years now, and we'd like to reappoint him to an additional one-year term.
Let's don't give him a break, put him back.
Right.
Move to approve.
Keep him working. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, likewise. He got a full board.
And a sister organization, the Southwest Virginia Regional Recycling and Solid Waste Working Group. Again, Mr. Street has served, represented the county for the past several years, and we'd like to continue that. Recommend continuing that.
Move to approve.
Second, just give them all to him.
We have a second, move to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Sounds like it's unanimous.
Next item, Marion Downtown Revitalization Committee. That's the downtown group for the town of Marion. In the past, Mr. Adkins had been the board's member, and Ms. Hayden had been the alternate, but their meetings are the second Thursday, which prevent Mr. Adkins from doing it. So we'd like to recommend Ms. Hayden be the county representative.
With her lobbying for a different night.
Yes, absolutely.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I will say, as part of the discussion, by being on this committee, I think it's helped the town and the county coordinate and get things done together. It's been my year and a half on there, I think, was, we understood one another a lot better. And I just think this is a good committee. And Kendra, since we've gone to this, Kendra has filled in for me, and representation on this committee is important.
Absolutely, I agree.
So, hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, likewise.
All right, the next item are more district specific. Ms. Lee Meadows with the Park District was appointed to fill an unexpired term that will end January 31st of this month, or this year, and she's eligible for an additional 4-year term, assuming Mr. Ratliff is supportive. We would like to recommend she be appointed to an additional 4-year term. And then also Bobby Campbell, North Fork District, his term also expires the end of the month and is eligible for another 4-year term.
Let's vote on them separately.
Okay.
Do we have a motion for Ms. Meadows?
Since she's from my district, I'd like to nominate her.
Okay.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, likewise. All right, now let's go to Mr. Campbell.
I would nominate him also.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I've had 2 or 3 people on that board approach me. His attendance is wish-washy.
We can talk to him.
And, I don't know if we can do such a thing as provisional appointment, or, because we want planning commission, we want somebody that'll be there.
I've spoke to him and he's assured me that he would be there and assured me that it wouldn't be a conflict, which he and Ms. Meadows, I think, are a couple.
Okay.
I don't know if that's an issue other than he tells me that they voted separately before, that he don't believe that'd be an issue. I told him the only concern was showing up, not being a conflict, and voting as he should on it, and he's assured me that he would.
Well, that's what I got hit with, the fact he wasn't showing up. So if we've
I think it's
addressed
been
that.
more active the last.
Yeah,
few
if
months.
we've addressed that issue,
Yeah.
let's go for the vote then. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Sounds like it was unanimous.
Thank you, sir. Next item is more of a recommendation to the circuit court for the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have a few positions. Daniel Sturgill with the Rye Valley District and Jimmy Fry, he's a non-district representative. Each of them are eligible for a additional 5-year term. And then we also recommending Dennis Greer as an alternate for a 2-year term. These would be recommendations to the circuit court, and I would ask Mr. Farthing to help with that should the board approve these recommendations.
One question.
Go ahead.
This Jimmy Fry, which one is that? I know 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, it's the Jimmy Fry.
Oh, the Jimmy?
Yeah, the Jimmy Fry, yeah. The
Core
one that-
Valley, Jimmy Fry?
Yeah, is the JF contractor there used to be or something?
Each one?
Former contractor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, electrical.
Yeah. He's been on that board before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the Jimmy Fry.
Yeah.
Dan Sturgill, Mary middle school teacher?
Yes.
Ag teacher, okay.
Dennis Greer, I think we know where he's going to. We'll overlook that though. Any other discussion on this?
Just clarity, that is Dennis that works for.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The county.
Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nobody made a
So
motion.
approve these 3 to turn over to the court.
Nobody made a motion yet.
Oh, I thought somebody did.
Move to approve.
We got that in a second now. Now, we had the discussion, I thought that's why I had it. Anyway, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? I'm out of practice, see ya.
That's okay, right. Next item, the Board of Building Code Appeals. I don't think this group is very active, but we do need to have it. We'd like to recommend appointing Chad Ellis as a non-district specific 4-year term, and then Greg Blevins as an alternate to a 2-year term, there with the dates 6/30 of 28 and 26 respectively.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move.
Second.
Okay, I would like to point out, if this is the one I think it is, if they serve on this board, we can't hound them to serve on any other board.
The BZA and this one both.
Right. If they're on this board, that's it. So,
It's just the BZA. If you're on the local board of building code appeals, you can be on other boards. It's just the BZA.
just BZA, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Thank you.
All right, then, forget that, we still got 2 good nominees.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Sounds like it was unanimous.
Next item, I'm a little hesitant with this one, but with Chamber Board, we do have a recommendation to reappoint Mr. Sturgill as the Board of Supervisors representative.
It'd be bad not to reappoint
It
him
might
since he's
be.
the president.
That would be a 3-year term.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? I just would like to say I'm happy to see Chamber is really, I think they've kicked it up.
They're active.
They're active and a lot more going on with Chamber's help, so, keep up the good work. Any, we got the motion, we got the second.
Actually, as of January 1st, Dale Clark is the
New president.
president. But,
Can we have a coup to keep you there?
yeah.
He's still on the executive for past president.
Yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Unanimous.
Next item, Economic Development Authority. We've had an opening since John McLean retired over the summer for the North Fork District. We've had many discussions and some houndings with this individual, and he's finally agreed. So there's a recommendation to appoint James Howe Campbell to a term to expire 6/30/2028.
I don't know if that's long enough. Once we get him on board, we.
Yeah. If their bylaws allowed more, we would
I
definitely
can't
would.
believe he finally agreed. I'm tickled to death. Any, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? I think he'll be a tremendous asset to that board. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, likewise.
Next item, this is more perfunctory, Southwest Virginia Community Corrections Criminal Justice Board, as the new county attorney, Commonwealth attorney, we would recommend appointing Philip Blevins to that board as a county representative to December 31st, 2027. That's coterminous with his term as county Commonwealth attorney.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, likewise. Craig, you got on a lot of these committees, unfortunately.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I knew I shouldn't have stepped out of the room.
Next time, I'll let Mr. Williams do this one. G.
Okay, I don't have it in front of me, but, so Becca recently passed all the certification tests to become a certified zoning administrator. So the recommendation is for you to appoint her as zoning administrator and me as the deputy.
Following the same thing we did for subdivision agent.
Right. This mirrors what we did for the subdivision agent, this time last year.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. And if we just have a few to run by you, there's some openings that we don't have recommendations for yet, and maybe go toward the appointments committee, but the Workforce Development Consortium Board, that's the local elected officials from, basically from Montgomery County to Bristol. The Mount Rogers, New River Valley Planning Districts. Miss Deal served on this board for the county for her 4 years. It's a quarterly meeting, 10 o'clock till about 12:30 usually, just 4 times a year. So it can either be an elected official or the chief administrative officer. I'm not asking or anything. I think it's better to have an elected official if someone's willing to volunteer. Maybe if you're interested, you can let us know between now and the next board meeting. We do have a few other board of zoning appeals positions that would need to be filled. The Southwest Virginia Community Corrections Criminal Justice Services Board. We need a board representative. Ms. Deal represented the board on that one also. And then we have 2 openings that are not district specific for the Mount Rogers Community Services Board of Directors.
Who was our Mount Rogers service board?
I'm gonna have to look at Dr. Ratliff.
Susie Jennings and Miss Sneed. They both hit they had served 2 consecutive terms, and by the regulations, bylaws, they have to sit out a term before they're eligible to go back on. Now, with that being said, I think Miss Sneed is actually still serving on the board as a non-voting advisor, I think is the term they used, or something like that. She's not a voting member, but she's there.
But she's been so active.
I think it's important we find somebody, because this particular organization does a lot here in Southwest Virginia.
How often do they meet?
They meet the 4th Monday of every month, because I sit on that board as well. Depending on which subcommittees you wind up on, it may start at 9 in the morning and go to 1, or show up at 11 and do the 11 to 12 meeting.
Let's give some thought to all of it. We really need good representation on this board.
I've been talking to one individual, but they've not committed yet, so.
Keep talking.
Yeah, so.
All righty.
That's all I have for that portion.
Anybody thinks anybody get to?
Who served on the criminal justice board last time?
Miss Deal
Ms. Deal?
was our representative.
Courtney's it?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Roscoe.
Jim, that committee, you just looking for somebody. Can there be anybody in the community that?
It's not district specific, so anybody countywide.
There she is. Monica Johnson.
Mount Rogers, right? That's where y'all are at?
Okay, we're going back to personnel committee, or
Appointments committee.
appointments committee.
I definitely take that too.
Put that, we'll put that name down, take to them.
I've just found out just now.
Okay.
He's very active, so.
That's the same thing, that's your line of work.
On Rick's too.
And Rick's, yeah, that's right.
We even though we forgot about Rick over here.
No one drops off.
Well, my thing right now is, I don't have the freedom that Courtney has with the schedule, so.
Oh, boy.
Which, well, just because I hadn't sat down and talked to them yet, so I'm afraid to commit to any more than I have to until I sit down with the higher ups at the time.
Okay.
I mean, I would be willing to do that. If you need somebody.
We'll put you down when we meet then, we'll see.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Excuse me for playing devil's advocate here, and I have no problem with either gentleman serving on the board, but I'd like to ask the attorney, with their profession, would that create a potential conflict of interest?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, I'm good then.
Good question there.
Is that just governing pretty much the community corrections program?
Yes, sir. Juvenile, yeah.
So I would, well, I mean, obviously the attorney said no, but I would almost question that too. There may not be anything wrong with it, but there may be accusations made because of what we do.
Potential.
But that happens with just about any committee that they understand. Someone will complain about it. All righty, I think we've got all that hammered out now. We've got all that hammered out
Yeah,
now?
yes, sir.
According to the personnel. So now we're back to the budget draft calendar draft.
Page 122, where it's that time of the year again. We're looking, this is the draft schedule for the development of the FY25 budget. As you see, we're looking to get the forms out tomorrow officially to everyone, and we'll hit the ground running with the budget work sessions beginning in March. So what we've done in the past is just the board adopts this as the roadmap for the budget development. So I just make a recommendation to adopt.
Motion, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second. Have a motion to second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? Motion carries. And I guess this might be a good place to state this. Mr. Sturgill and myself will sit down with John and try to get the committee assignments done.
If you have time tomorrow, I do.
Yeah, if you have a particular committee or some of interest that you want to be on, or believe it or not, one that you don't want to be on, be sure and let us know. Because there's nothing worse than being on the committee that you don't want to be on, and it's not worth it. We got somebody else that might want to be there, so let us know, communicate with us. And that way you get the full representation, so to speak. All right, moving on now to supplemental appropriation for Fund 746. Excuse me, 748.
So when I did the quarterly appropriation request, I did fail to put this one on there, so I'd like to recommend a supplemental appropriation of $8,000 for Fund 748. This is the Sheriff's Office East Summons Fund. This is what they use to pay for their MiFi cards for their vehicles.
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed likewise?
And Mr. Chairman, I'll abstain from that.
Okay. Moving to the Smyth County Trough, Ms. Hayden. You've been hiding back there this whole time.
Yep, that's what I did.
This will be quick, hopefully. I'm just coming to request a 6-year extension for Smyth County Machine and Fabrication's trough performance agreement. That is the Tobacco Commission grant that they received from the 2018 expansion. They are a little short on their metrics to receive full credit, and their payout was received on the front end, so it would have a clawback of around $90,000 as it stands right now. It was a total of a $200,000 grant. So the Tobacco Commission is willing to grant that extension. I just need your all's approval as well.
A quick question, I just don't, that's a 6 more years or a
This
sixth
is the
year?
6th year.
It's
extension.
And one
year
equal to 6th
Additional
year.
year, correct,
Yeah,
yes.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, and they've already actually purchased a piece of equipment, pretty large piece of equipment. That will,
Why would we not?
yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise?
Thank you.
Believe you got it. Board retreat options, discussion, Mr. Hutt.
Yeah, so, since we have, a new board and a new day, I wanted to throw out the potential of bringing the board together for a specific board retreat. In your packet, starting at page 127, is the summary from the board retreat we held back in January of 2021. In that, we have the updates of showing what we've accomplished, the areas that we still need some work on. And I thought we've used this as a guide for what the priorities for the staff have been. So I just wanted to throw that out to start the conversation. I have reached out to, if you remember the folks that were here, Mr. Payne that helped facilitate the last discussion is available, but it would probably be March timeframe. He's already committed to about another half dozen or so board retreats around the Commonwealth, but he's good at what he does, and I would like to be able to use him if we can, but if you want to do it sooner, we can certainly find someone else.
Does this include like a beach trip or something?
You know, if we need to go to Vegas, we can go to Vegas. The last one was done at the Francis Marion.
Oh, well, that's fancy.
Don't everybody talk at once now.
I mean, I thought the last one was very good and very productive.
Yep.
And, I think it gave us a lot of direction and identified a lot of things for us to consider, so I'm in support of it.
The only thing that I'd throw out, the last one, it was, as far as staff involvement, I was the only one. We may have a portion of the day set aside for department heads to come and be part of the conversation too, because I really look at I call the leadership team to help give us direction. So I'd like to have their voices heard, if that's okay with the board.
I think it's important that you read what we talked about in 2021 and see where we're at in 2024 now. And you know, it's just amazing what we threw out that we'd like to see or what we don't want to see, and to see where we are on some of these things. I think it's worth your time to take a few minutes to read through that. If you feel like we've not done anything, I think just the somewhere on here has become more. I think it's somewhere it says become an open, more transparent government. I think we've done excellent. Maybe that's my opinion, but I think we've done an excellent job of that, and I hope to continue.
Absolutely.
We've not had near as many backroom discussions. We hammered out here in front of Mr. Wassum and everybody. And I think that's important. People need to know what we're thinking, why, and that way, like with our water thing tonight, we need to hammer that stuff out with the public knowing what's going on.
If I remember correctly, the last one was a 2-day, I think first day was 4 hours and the second day was 4 hours, evening and the next morning. Is that, or would you rather just set 8 hours aside and do it all in one day?
It's hard to do.
Yeah, I'd like to have that break.
I agree.
Okay. Right. I'll report back at the next meeting. I'll get with the facilitators so we can get worked out.
Okay. All right, we got that covered. We're down to important things now, a report from the county attorney. What did he has nothing?
I'll, honor your prediction. I didn't have anything to report today.
Go Hokies.
Go Hokies.
They looked good last night.
Thank you. Report from the county administrator and staff.
Two quick things. One, just to update on the Parks and Recreation operations. We've had some good conversations with a volunteer that's hit the ground running. Don't have staff yet, but Mr. Smyth from Chilhowie has offered to help get things started for us. So he's actually coordinated with the Rydell to get the helmets. That's going to be the biggest need right now. So the town of Marion has formally agreed to donate all of their equipment. I have an agreement that I need chairman to sign. It's basically a hold harmless that, you know, here's the equipment. They're not guaranteeing any of it, which we don't expect them to. So that part is moving forward, and I'm excited about that. Another thing that we've talked about that I hadn't thought of until just recently, but if we have a football program, we need to make sure we have a cheerleading program to go along with it. So Mr. Smart is also working on getting some volunteers or doing some work with that. The only other item is at your desk, you have the conflict of interest forms, printouts. Those are due by the 1st of February. If you want to either fill them out tonight and leave them or bring them to the next board meeting. We don't want to see any of the board members get any of the fines associated. So we'll do all we can to make sure you get that done. That's all I have, sir.
All righty, thank you, sir. You and your staff do a good job, by the way. Chris, you're first.
Oh, great.
Supervisor comments.
First of all, I want to apologize, Mr. Chairman, for being late. I had to go to John City for a photograph of all things, and I couldn't get back in time due to traffic along I-81. First and foremost, I want to welcome the two new members that were elected, Mr. Billings and Mr. Parris. I look forward to working with you guys, and I think we're going to do well moving forward. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot to say other than I'm looking forward for a productive 2024.
All right, thank you. Draw a card.
Hey.
I don't know if that looks pretty.
I want to congratulate and welcome the newest members as well. You know, I do think it's important, just what we was talking about with this retreat, as far as getting some of the other leaders, as far as the departments and stuff involved in that. I think it's very important for us to do everything we can for all these departments to make sure they understand that we support them and you know, take their goals into consideration as far as moving forward with a lot of things. But and I'm sorry, I've just got a lot on my mind right now. I'm bouncing around, but what's the road, Mr. Atkins, Churchland Drive?
Churchland Drive.
Is there a status or something going on with that?
Yes, sir. So, hunting down the family tree a little bit, we got some family members in Louisiana.
Okay.
I spoke to them before Christmas. They're reaching out to a local attorney to see if they can convey their interest away to the other owner that actually lives on the property. Her name's Stella Farmer.
Mm-hmm.
So I had just sent an email to Mr. Graham, who is doing that, I think, asking about the status of that. Just because I'm trying to avoid suing those people in Louisiana to come clean up the property, and they don't want to mess with it. They're happy to give it away to the other owner. They're just trying to make that happen. So I'm trying to follow up with Mr. Graham to see. We'll wait just a little bit longer, then I'll just name those people and go proceed.
Okay. Does that also include the vehicles and things that are parked on the roadway?
Includes the mess. So
okay.
I'm going to be as inclusive as I can be with the order, saying clean it up. Right. That's the hope. So
okay.
It would be the vehicles there, cause they're violating, and Clay can correct me if I'm wrong, the zoning ordinance, cause they're running a campground there, you know, or parking lot or whatever, they're not zoned to do that. So, and that's part of the lawsuit, is a zoning violation as well as a nuisance, on that property, so.
Okay. I was just questioned about that, and I just wanted to bring that up, so it would be out here, and.
You've been waiting on me too long, it's part of the process, but I am moving on it, and we're making.
And I was pretty sure this was what was going on.
Right.
And I explained that, but I just wanted to verify that.
Yeah, that's fine, ask me anytime you have a question about something.
And I appreciate that, but overall, I just want to thank everybody for the job you do, the staff, county administration office, all the county offices and everything. You guys, again, you're amazing. It makes it a whole lot easier on us. You know, when I get phone calls or something, and there's any major issues that the public may have, it just makes it a lot easier. You know, knowing the people are in the places that they are, and they can provide me with the proper information and move forward with that. So, and I've heard a lot of good things from some citizens and stuff here in recent months, that they've been pleased with how things have went too. So just a little pat on the back there. That being said, everybody be safe going home, and thank you all for being here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Widener. I'm next here. I just want to thank our new members for being here. Don't be afraid to speak up. We're formally informal, so if you need to say something, you know, speak up. You're here to represent your, I want to say, roughly 2,700 voters in your district, somewhere in that neighborhood, 27, 29. So nothing worse than being caught later on saying, well, you didn't say anything. You have my invitation to say something. As the first sergeant told me one time, we want your opinion, but your opinion's got to be correct. So, speak up, and we'll talk it out. I can't stress that enough. Thank the staff for having these meetings ready for us, having between meetings information available to us. It used to be you didn't have information. I mean, we had a lot of board meetings where information was not available to the people sitting up here. We're doing everything we can with the staff's help to make the information usable and meaningful. So I want to thank the staff. Everyone be careful on your ride home tonight. Thank you for, I want to thank the few we got left in the audience. Good to have you here tonight.
Well, first I'd like to say the welcoming attitude that the county, the employees of the county, those even before I would say I was elected. I can't speak for Mr. Billings down there, but I can tell you that the information that was shared when it was apparent that we were, you know, running unopposed, that has been, it's been just so welcoming. It's almost been, it's an open book. Come in, you've given us all the information we know to hopefully make us succeed. And I guess that's what we're going to try to do, is to try to, represent not only our constituents, but the ones that the rest of the county, and move the county forward. I think the county has done a lot of positive changes forward in the last several years, and I hope to be a part of that, and continuing moving it forward. So I do appreciate that, and just hopefully I can as we say, to the best of our ability, do our jobs.
Thank you. Mr. Connell.
Well, just glad to be here, glad everybody's healthy, and here the staff does great work. One thing about running unopposed, why didn't nobody else run? That's what you gotta worry about.
Yeah.
What am I getting into? I had this T-Bone Lewis taught basketball over at R.B. Worthy for years. I went to him when I first started on. He said, well, you might be all right. He said, but if you get elected, he said, you're going to turn into something else, and I can't repeat that tonight. You'd have to believe it if I did, but it's not that bad. But congratulations to both you guys. Hope you have a long career in. I'm starting my 15th year tonight, I think. It's been good, it's all been good. Charlie's know a lot of, those of us. And, it's a labor of love, that's for sure. You ain't gonna come out ahead on it.
You don't like that big paycheck?
Yeah. Tax people do, but God bless each and every one of you. I'm glad to have you as friends.
Thank you, Roscoe. Mr. Billings?
Well, just echoing what everybody else has said, it's unbelievable how welcoming Sean and his staff has been. I made a joke Friday, I won't repeat it on camera, but it's a common thing to hear people say. So as many people say as what a great staff there is, I tend to agree and absolutely believe it. So they've been wonderful to me so far. You all on the board also has, with Jason. I know him well enough already to know that y'all won't have to worry about either one of us speaking up, so both of us got a big mouth, I think. So we speak our mind anyway, and that's what everybody's supposed to do here, what I'm assuming anyway. So I appreciate all of you all. I appreciate Mr. Billings, but I'm Rick. So the only Mr. Billings I knew was my granddaddy, and he's been gone many years. So just feel free to call me Rick. And if you don't like me calling you by your first name, I can call you Mr. whatever. So I appreciate the welcome and appreciate the opportunity. And I think we got big things going on. I know y'all did a wonderful job the last few years. And I feel privileged to be part of the future with y'all. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, that doesn't, oh, I'm
That's right. Save the worst for last.
Ms. Sturgill.
So, just like to say, one of the things we've worked hard on the school system, and of course, was programs for our students. And honestly, I think right now in Smyth County, we've got the Healthcare Excellence Program, which started with sophomores and started this semester. And the students that anticipate going into the healthcare field of any kind, they'll be doing 2.5 years of coursework for the last 2.5 years of high school, while attending high school half a day. We've got the Manufacturing Excellence Program, which will start February 2nd, which kids that are seniors who are planning on going into the workforce, we will be attending a lot of the local manufacturers on the schedule every Friday for 8 weeks. And our goal is to have as many of them hired, if not all of them hired, before they ever get their high school diploma. So this gives them the opportunity to see the places in Smyth County to work from the inside out. They can see what they do. They can talk to them about the pay scales. So for a high school senior that's going into the workforce, I can't imagine any more information that they would possibly need to do that. And I know that Clegg, I don't know if you said anything to Sarah yet, but if you are, get her on the schedule if you want to do something with the county. Okay. Also, we've got another program that I don't want to speak a whole lot about because there's going to be a news release on it the first week of February about, and I'll just say this, it's about students that are in school that would like to be teachers one day. And we have worked out an unreal thing with Emory Henry College and our community colleges that where students financially, will not incur very much debt at all in going to college if they would like to go into education. And it would start during their high school year. So I told Dr. Carter I wouldn't say any more than that until all the news releases on that. So between vocational and of course I've heard nothing but great things about the Smyth Promise and how it has really helped out our students. I commend the board for passing that, and it's become a very integral part. I was in an Education Foundation meeting this morning, and the Smyth, and they were talking about it, how what a great asset it is, and how now, the kids, some of them don't need scholarships, but for that part, it's going to community college, but we could help more kids that are going to four-year schools, so to help alleviate some of the financial burden there. So it's helping out all the way around. And I think we've got a lot of our neighbors in other counties who are I know Wythe County has it, but our neighbors to the west are trying to figure out how they're going to do it in their counties. So I think they're getting hit pretty hard. So So, I think we've come up with a lot of great ideas, we work really well together, so I'm pleased with that. I look forward to working with our new board members and our present board as we go forward. I think 2024 is gonna be a great year for us. I think we made a lot of economic progress last year, trendsetted a lot of things, but I think we vetted everything by step that needed, the way it needed to be done. So hopefully we headed off a lot of issues with that. And Sean, I was just gonna tell you, talking about the rec committee, I told Courtney over there, this past weekend and early this week, I attended the, AFCA conference, which is American Football Coaches Association, which has all the college coaches. I went to the vendor session and got contact information for helmet companies, reconditioning companies that I didn't even know existed. So we have a lot more, if we see an area that may struggle, we have a lot more options than we did have.
Absolutely, good.
So, look forward to working with everyone, and hope everyone travels safe home tonight. Thank you.
One final comment, I attended the school board meeting Monday night, and just in case you've been wondering, they approved the demolition of the intermediate school, including the, gym. As you may remember, we talked about, I may have been in committee, but it was a good a sound decision to tear it all down because it was gonna cost more to try to save the gym and then have a 50-year-old gym than it was to tear it down and build a new one. So that's sort of the route they're going. They're tearing it down, gonna reseed it, and then go from there. And I just wanna let you know, somebody asked, how much longer is that gonna stand up there? It's coming down fairly quickly now. I mean, nothing, anyone have anything else they need to add?
I'll add too that we've applied for a grant for that project, the CHI project, but we paid 30% of the cost of that. And we'll find out, I think in March, from the state, that would fund 30%, which is a big lick, those projects.
I remember when we talked about how much it's gonna cost us, we scratched and clawed and got that, including the school, and we've got that now, you know, we passed that one thing where I wouldn't let us use our ARP money or whatever.
Figure out another way for it.
Yeah, and it's working well. You know, being able to talk, and that's what we need to do on a lot of these water projects, whatever. Let's just keep clawing at it and scratching at it, and we can get something done, so, if you're anywhere at a meeting and they talk about something you might be interested, don't hesitate to give us a call and let us know what's available. Any other comments? Hearing none, this may be one of our fastest meetings ever. Meeting adjourned.
How you boss? The gym? The cafeteria? Or is it like a